Okay, this is what you're aiming for, and this is as far as it's got so far. There's an awful lot of wood to lose in doing that. This is, I showed in the last video, this is drilled and reamed, so this is ready to go. This is a square of yew wood. These are both made out of yew wood, and we've got to get it to this stage and tenon it on and then do the turning. That's what we're doing right now. You have to consider the grain, because ideally I'd like the join between that and that to be imperceptible. It doesn't often happen, but here's a this is made out of cherry and this is a drone end, and you hard pressed to see that there wasn't that there's a gap in the grain. I'm very proud of this one, but it doesn't always happen as well as that. This one is going to be, I've got to put it that way around because there's some cracks appearing there, and they're going to disappear eventually by the time I've turned it. So I'm going to be turning that turns into that in the next phase. So what we need to do is put it on the screw chuck, which means finding the center, which I don't use a compass for or anything. I just use this disc, make a hole, make a mark, and then drill it. Okay, so this is using the screw chuck. I've got my bell blank here screwed onto the face plate screw chuck, and this process is basically wasting wood, getting rid of wood in a hurry. And I use this bell turning gouge, which, as I say, I'm not quite convinced it's the right tool for the job. It does the job though. You can hear that rattle, means that it's not yet around. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, it's coming on. It's coming on. Now look at my plans to see how thick the bell should be. It's 1 3/8, so we'll remove a bit from here. I'll use the beading tool for that. Experienced wood turners will notice that I'm actually using that as a scraper. I'm not actually cutting with it, I'm just jabbing it in, but it works. I don't think I should be so apologetic about that. It works. It works. Now we need a groove to hold it in the four-jaw lathe, four-jaw chuck. I'm trying to get that completely flat, and a simple way to check is with the side of this, and it's rocking a bit, so take a little bit more out the middle. So now we need to make the recess there, which I'm going to use a Forstner bit for this, and it just goes in about 1/4 of an inch. You won't be able to see any of this for a moment. There's a little, I've ground out a section there so I know when it's gone in 1/4 of an inch. Now it's time, we've wasted all that wood, now it's time to do more wasting to get the inside of the bell, but then making sure it's nice and smooth. So the process of making the inside of the bell I find a bit difficult to explain. I don't know how it actually happens, how I actually get a consistent inside. My mind or my muscle memory seems to know how to do it, so I won't be able to give too much facts on that. I'm going to use my angled beading tool, or whatever you call it, just to make some grooves here. Let's have more speed. I think I'm staying fairly horizontal and just moving. So it's this arc which is defining the inside shape of the bell. Right, we're going to start using the spindle gouge now, and I'm cutting round the tip there, but if I make a slightly if I lose concentration and catch, nasty things can happen. If I catch on the side, suddenly you're gouging, you're doing something absolutely horrible that you regret immediately. So we'll try not to do any of that. It's those thin whispers. When you're doing those thin whisper shavings, you know you're doing something right. So how's it coming? There's any wood turner knows it always looks better when it's spinning at high speed. It's a bit rough there. That's a teeny bit of sapwood there, which is looks very nice actually, but I think we may have to remove it. been an interesting experiment, this, because I've been noticing how it changes. This is something that just has become muscle memory for me. I think that's pretty good, really. I think that the next stage is going to be sanding. Now that would have taken me not years, but hours or an hour to do in the old days, scraping and doing all sorts of things and making accidents. But sharp tools, the right tool angles, made all the difference. Okay, so now it's the time for sanding, and sanding means dust, so I'm going to have that on. You can see it going away. I've made life a lot easier by making this tray, which has the different kinds of sandpaper, well, it's not sandpaper, abrasives, in their right compartment, so I never have to fumble around finding the next one. So we'll start with 300 and 240. And it's a bit rough around there, but apart from that, it's looking good. I used to spend a fortune on sandpaper in the early days and start at far coarser, 80 or something, far coarser, but as I've got better, my tools have got sharper and my techniques got better. What are we on to now? We're on to 320. Right, now 400. And then the finest thing, I don't actually know what, it says 400 as well, but it's far finer than that. There are some tanners who buff it a bit with shavings. I don't know whether that's any good or not. I don't do it myself. So that's looking pretty good. So the next stage is the finest of all the abrasives, which is a liquid abrasive, and you buy it at Halfords or whatever. It's T-cut. I think it's the same as Brasso. Don't need the fan anymore. Slow things down, otherwise it flings it all in your face. So this is an abrasive. This isn't adding anything. This is actually removing stuff from the wood. Right, so there's one bell turned. Let's take it out and have a look. So let's have a look at it. It looks really great. It's lovely that you smooth and beautifully grained.